We will respond at the appropriate time, in the appropriate way, to these baseless allegations. Yes, I think as I talk to individuals all throughout the state of New York, they always say, well, he's the president. That's usually how it begins, the conversation. He's the president, Tish. And my response to them, he's the president and he's not a king.
Let's check out the building that LETITIA James owns. And there's some complaints about this unit. If you own a building, and if someone complains about something in the building, you should be the first one to take care of it.
The hits keep on coming. LETITIA James built her entire political brand as the protector of the people, the hammer of justice when the landlord stepped online. But what if I told you that one of her own tenants just filed a housing complaint against her for the same stuff she publicly drags other landlords over? And the timing, right after she got referred to the feds for mortgage fraud. So is the New York's top cop actually a slumlord in disguise? Let's get into it.
Brooklyn. We are here in Clinton Hill, or Fort Greene, however you want to call it. Yeah, I think this is Fort Greene, Brooklyn. As I live in Brooklyn, about 20 minutes away from here. So let's see. So this is it right here. 296 Lafayette. Now this is the building that is under some scrutiny because LETITIA James said that the unit only had 4 units when there's 5. And the reason why we're here today, because there's some complaints about this unit. So from the outside, you can't really see too much what's going on, but apparently there's some issues. There's some complaints that were sent out about paint peeling, stuff like that. Apparently was not answered by her at all. The rents are probably pretty expensive. I'll probably look up exactly how much they're paying in rent in an area like this, but there's a lot of people, a lot of things getting fixed, stuff like that. But yeah, this is the building. And the interesting thing is when the complaints came in, which the complaints actually happened April of this month, I think April 16th, the inspectors were not able to get access to this building. So there's some back and forth on, why all of a sudden that, usually tenants, sometimes they don't really go out their way to complain. And why the complaints happen right around a lot of these allegations have been formed about LETITIA James. When you think about it, considering that she is LETITIA James, she's the one that's supposed to be all about taking care of the people, making sure that people are not out there trying to take advantage of the tenants and stuff like that. Yet, as we see from this unit right here behind me, there's some issues going on. And some people think that maybe the tenants are getting set up, maybe they are now complaining because of all the things that's happening with LETITIA James. Is there actually legit issues in the building? You don't know, but it's possible that people were fed up. Usually what happens, and if you've been in an apartment, LETITIA James is not sitting there waiting on calls about how to maintain the building. She probably hires a building manager. But the problem is when there's an issue with the building and you complain, you sent the issues to the building manager. The building manager is supposed to take care of it. So the fact that it's become a tenant complaint, that shows that the building manager is not doing their job. If there's any issues with the building, you contact who's running the building manager. So it just goes to show you that if you are LETITIA James, you are Attorney General, you're out there, you're supposed to be the one that's all about taking care of the little guy. If you own a building, and if someone complains about something in the building, you should be the first one to take care of it. It shouldn't get to a complaint at all. So, unfortunately, well, obviously I can't go into the building, but just want to show you a little bit what's going on over here.
April 16th, 2025, a formal complaint was filed against the building at 296 Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn. Again, this building is owned by LETITIA James, and the complaint filed by a tenant in the apartment 2B, condition the walls. Complaint detail, peeling paint in the living room, and the status is still open. This isn't some whiny Yelp review. This is an official city housing complaint. It is lodged in the HPD system, the same system LETITIA's office used to investigate other landlords. But here's the part that really hits different. LETITIA James is on record saying, quote, "I will always protect New Yorkers from landlords who break our laws." So tell me, who protects her tenants? In fact, there's tons of problems with New York City and landlords. There are tons of slum landlords. Let's remove the fact that LETITIA James may be doing something weird over here. There's hundreds of terrible landlords. People complain all the time. I don't think LETITIA James is even doing a great job even regulating that.
From leaky ceilings,
this is broken,
to broken windows.
I feel so bad because it's so dirty. We fight 5 years. So
She lives in one of dozens of buildings owned by landlords who have made it on to public advocate Jumaane Williams' annual Worst Landlord Watch list. Among the top 5 offenders is Barry Singer, Alfred Thompson, Karen Gare, Melanie Martin, and Claudette Henry, all of which operate multiple buildings under hard-to-track-down LLCs that average more than 1,000 housing preservation and development violations. In the building we visited today, Camille says she not only has to deal with rodents and spotty heat,
doors open, you can walk right in.
but for years she's lived next door to vacant apartments in disrepair that are open for anyone to go into.
Let's go back to LETITIA James. Because this complaint isn't just a rumor, it's real, and it wasn't filed by some political enemy, it came from inside the house. The tenant is living with deteriorating conditions. That might sound minor until you remember that peeling paint in New York buildings, especially older ones, is a major health code violation. You could be talking about possible lead paint. It's toxic, especially for kids. It may not be lead paint, but this isn't just bad maintenance, it's potentially dangerous. And LETITIA, she's been calling out people like this for years, criminals. I believe slumlords are criminals, but now the call is coming from inside the building. Now, the timing of all this is very interesting. The complaint was filed just 48 hours after the Federal Housing Finance Agency referred LETITIA James to the Department of Justice. And like I said before in many videos, for allegedly falsifying mortgage documents, misrepresenting her Brooklyn property that we just saw right there to get better loans, and even claiming a Virginia house as her primary residence while serving as New York Attorney General. So now you got federal heat, state heat, and local housing complaints. The city inspectors tried to check the property after complaint and they couldn't even get in. No inspectors able to get access to verify the complaints. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. Hopefully they come back to see if this is an issue. LETITIA James should take care of this immediately. Now imagine if this was any other landlord. LETITIA would be on the podium saying they're hiding the truth, they're avoiding accountability, that's just unacceptable. But when it's her, suddenly it's just silence. So let's get this straight. You're supposed to be the state's top law enforcer. You made a whole career chasing landlords who don't fix housing issues, and now you have your own tenants saying that their walls are falling apart. And what are you doing? Just ghosting the entire situation? Like I said earlier, when you are complaining about something in your apartment, you go to the building manager or the landlord, and they should be taking care of it. You only start to complain when nothing is happening. When you've told them, hey, I have vermin, or this appliance is not working, or the walls are falling apart, and nothing is happening. You're emailing the people, you're calling, and nothing's going on. That's where you start to log official complaints. And if this is happening to LETITIA James, the protector of the people in New York, if that ain't the definition of hypocrisy, I don't know what is. LETITIA is out here giving bad landlord energy while still collecting rent. Imagine the mental gymnastics it takes to prosecute others for the very exact thing that your own property is doing. That's not justice, that's performance art. A quick Google search says that the average rent in Clinton Hill, Brooklyn is around $2,005. The average rent is based on a national rent of $2,005 as of March 31st, 2025. And you can see how expensive it is to live in Brooklyn, especially in that area over there that is getting pretty gentrified. So there's a lot of money there. People coming from Manhattan that can't afford the Manhattan rents. So there's a lot of money here. And you should be able to take care of your apartments. She's collecting a good amount of money every single month. This should not be happening, again, to the New York Attorney General, someone that's probably doing very well for herself financially. Now, according to white collar fraud, sources say that the unrest isn't just coming from the tenants, it's actually inside her own office. Career staffers at the New York Attorney General's office are reportedly getting nervous. They're seeing the cracks, they're asking questions. Some are even talking to law enforcement. LETITIA James believes that she's a symbol of righteous justice. But now she's looking like another politician caught up in a web of her own contradictions. You got tenant complaints, blocked inspections, federal referrals, and the office starting to sweat from the inside out. All of this, and it started with a little peeling paint in this apartment. So is LETITIA James a slumlord? If this was a random landlord in the Bronx and Queens with the same complaints, James would have had their name in bold font for every press release. Or maybe not, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of areas in Brooklyn and Bronx, all over New York City, that are filled with dangerous, nasty apartments with a bunch of terrible landlords. But again, she's an attorney general and this is her building, her tenant, her responsibility. It's not just looking like a slumlord, it's looking like a walking contradiction. Because if you can't follow the same laws you enforce, what business do you have holding anyone else accountable? So we will continue to follow this story. Do you guys think it's possible that she's a slumlord, or do you think it's just bad timing and some politics? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.